All right, this is an early meditation thought for February 8th, 2023. Just having my coffee, early morning, Daly City, California. Um, I used to have a thought, and I still do have this thought, that there's no such thing as society. And when I say that there's no such thing as society, it's an analytical argument that there is no cohesive physical entity called society, just like there is no physical cohesive entity of capitalism. That is to say, it seems to be an ideological war, or that it's impossible to say what is what is physically society. Who is society? Is society a person? If you ask somebody what is society, they might even say as something as so silly as a group of human beings living together. I mean, that's Epicurean society, or well, what do you call a pack of wolves? A school of fish? They have a bunch of little names for animals other than society, but when we congregate humans, we call them a society of humans. But that's it. If 20 humans exist in the room, I guess that's a society, right? What is the intention of society? So this is where I'm really getting at. So when people say you're antisocial, you're anti-society, meaning you are an alpha stigma male barbarian that's nomadic and you go from place to place and you never. Isn't that just like what most kind of furious animals do, or sharks to begin with? I don't know why anybody would make antisocial like profane evil or something. And in fact, I wrote about this before, where you had hunter and gatherer tribes, and then you had the alpha barbarians that didn't need to congregate with other humans. So I guess by definition that would be antisocial. Now, analytics aside, I think society now means totally something else today. Again, if you ask a person what does that mean, they'll probably say something as silly as to say the police force, the government, school, college, downtown in a city, a marketplace. It's people have created these institutions in their head, which means that they're out to create this watchman state government to look out for a plausibility of a society. But it's so ironic is that we live in a neoliberal capitalist world where we do have hardcore libertarian beliefs of total isolation. So when you are antisocial, or when you when you don't believe in society anymore, this opens up philosophies and theories about accelerationism. Or if the truth of it is existential nihilism, that is, everybody is actually alone and in their own individual solipsis space of only knowing the mind, nothing else matters, then there is no society. That you can't, make, oh, you're anti-social, you can't make insults about people, about you're antisocial, or you can't say you live in your mother's basement, because those arguments are based upon what society, a fictitious being that's not there, demands. No, the police force, the school, the academy, the market, they don't care if you live in your mother's basement, because why? Everybody is being automated. Gilles Deleuze argues about a body without organs, that the United States is like that every day that there's going to be cars in the street going back and forth, rushing in and out to work based upon profits and command. That's like blood cells in a body that goes through the organs, or what are they called? The lungs, and you breathe in and out so you can live another day. Well, tomorrow will be exactly the same like today. I know the sun is going to come up and the sun's going to fall down. There's going to be a moon. It's going to be dark for 12 hours, and the same rotation happens. Well, people have gotten to habitual habits where I know cars will be on the road rushing to work, 5 o'clock traffic. That was happening since September 3rd, 1991, since the day I was conceived. The only difference has happened, as Jacques Ellul would say, is technology. Technology accelerates. Things get more easy and automated. Now that I have, say, a smartphone with internet, and I'm guys using this kind of voice technology talking to you, sure, I can get my ideals out there and express myself better, but where is society in all this? Society just doesn't exist. It's merely an analytical argument to create a belief in our heads that there is a paternal government of neighbors, friends, and people who expect us to find place. But we can't do that in America if we're such a divided country based upon race, politics, when profit is commanded, you can't even get a job. Even if you have the skill set and you want to get a job, your boss hates you on an individual level because you wrote right-wing things on Twitter. How is that society as a whole? How is that a jury? How is that a democracy? It isn't. Because society is not real. It's a figment of our imagination. With that being said, if you believe society is not real and it's not there, this opens the door for theories like Nick Land's accelerationism, and that there's no way to stop accelerating production and innovation and technology because somebody doing it on an individual level, not on a paternal society level, will build the technology even when you say no. You know, if you have Chinese people building bridges and you do everything on the local political level, you do things on the macro political, voting Trump in, it won't change the fact China or a different part of the world will build accelerating technology that everybody is orbiting around. And hence that means space colonization is inevitable. So as long as you just try to make accelerating transhumanist points happen, because all the politics just want that to happen. And so that's what I'm talking about, is that post-scarcity, this kind of communist utopia of kind of you don't have to produce things anymore, there's always a farm and there's always a collective interest, that's as antisocial because there is no society that you have to work for it anymore. It's the society, quote unquote, is a vending machine. It doesn't speak, it doesn't act. You're just alone in your own apartment complex watching Pornhub and eating food. So no, they think the good of society, quote unquote, as ironic as the sound, is leaving you alone. So again, I'm giving more examples of the conundrum of there's no such thing as society. I've yet to hear like why society is like gravity. That is it what is exactly the definition of society? It's what other people think? Is it their other political opinions? Is it neighbor? Is it benefiting something? How am I benefiting anything if I work they might even say, well, because you're a driver assistant for UPS, you're benefiting society by going around Daly City and dropping off Mexican packages that Mexicans buy on Jeff Bezos' Amazon, who is the complete most antisocial. So a lot of it breaks down. It's not that there is a society. It is, again, the loose body without organs. It is blood merely streaming through process. And they think your place, that's a very important word, place, Erik Erikson style, you operating the UPS truck to get the boxes, that's a benefit to quote unquote society because at least the conveyor belt is going. And that goes back to Nick Land's accelerationist theory, because why do I have to do the conveyor belt when somebody else can do it? Like, say, I don't know, a robot? So you can't say positions of power like that is benefiting to society. You can't just be a cop and stop the attacker from attacking Paul Pelosi and saying, I benefited society. That is an individualistic case. Again, this is an incredible big analytical argument because perhaps in 1960s or 1950s, when boomers, there was a lesser population of 100 million white people in the United States. That's where out in Winnipeg, Canada, everyone knew each other, everyone had church, and they could actually say that was a society, a proper community, maybe the correct word is. And the community was a society. They were synopsis with one another. But now I believe community has nothing to do with society. And society is basically, you can't say society is a macro community. Both are two different things. Going back on my first statement, if somebody's anti-capitalist, they have to get rid of capitalism for good and replace it with something else. If there is no capitalism, how can you do that? So what is capitalism? So they will go anything from saying the White House or Wall Street in New York City. Some radical Islamic terrorist would blow up the Twin Towers to stop Americanism, quote unquote. And it does work to some extent. However, it's like a George Sorelian type of move. So there's a lot of unfortunate socialist types like the DSA and those who work with the Democratic Party that think, well, because capitalism is not an entity, you just let the wealthy get wealthy and then everyone lives off their extreme profit threshold ratio, and that creates UBI. And then everybody's happy in a fictitious UBI communism supported by capitalism. Right? The system is never about, these parties are never about abolishing capitalism. It's about living through capitalism because there's no alternative to capitalism. And they can have their socialist lazy fantasy because the capitalism will buy them out. It's like a self-defeatist position. And this argument can only be established because there is no such thing as capitalism. They're not defining their terms. It's kind of like society. It's like saying, well, how do you define capitalism? Is it a market? Is it a free market? We know that capitalism is profits in command, but who is the institutions? What are the economic police that are enforcing profits in command? And it basically boils down to a government, which you can say is the physical entity. But there are those who insist that capitalism is not a physical entity. Well, the same could be said about society as a whole. Society is defined as a group of human beings together, living together. And that would kind of mean a community, right? A paternal community. Well, if there is no society and there is no paternal community, put it this way, if an alien was to drop down and the alien was to tour Washington, D.C., the alien goes up to a human being, the alien says, you showed me the Capitol and where everybody in power is, but you didn't show me your leader. I asked, where is your leader? And then you tell the alien, this is who we lead, Washington, D.C. And the alien goes, yeah, I understand, but where's your leader? And he said, here, the president. Okay, that's the president, but where is your leader? Is the president the leader, or is that building the leader? So the alien is creating a cunning argument, another analytical argument about the non-entity existence of capitalism and society. What is exactly a leader? Is it an individual? Is it a person? Is it a concept? The alien believes being a leader is a concept. And so, as long as you believe that these are non-entities, Nick Land's accelerationism will happen because we're enforcing on ourselves neoliberal, capitalist individualism, idealism, plus existential nihilism, and only we'll live in Ayn Rand libertarianism for the rest of our lives. Again, there are some conspiracy theories that say even gravity doesn't exist. You can't prove gravity. Gravity is just a hypothetical notation made up by scientists to explain why we fall from cliffs. But you can't see gravity. I mean, that's more of the loony scientist theory, but think like that as society for a second. And besides capitalism or anything like that, whether capitalism is real or not, that's just an example to talk about society. Society is always used in context from a 1950s boomer position, especially of old white America. You could be the most deracinated Mexican person in Daly City, California, and then some finger-waving boomer tells you, what are you doing for society? Think about the word nigger for a second. That word is, it's hating on black people. But that word represents laziness. You're no good, nothing for society. And that's unfortunate because there's already an ideological tone to that you're supposed to hate people who are antisocial and you're not being productive. And who's to say that, do black people have a society, quote unquote? I mean, certainly not a society where they're being called lazy people. And that goes to show you that probably different countries like Asia, Africa, Europe, they'll have different concepts of what a society is. But when you say it in a melting pot of Malays people, society is this kind of boomer condescending neoliberal capitalist zone that we're all isolated but forced together. And you are supposed to look for work. How is that, why would I look for work? Why should I? It's kind of going back to Bob Black's argument against work. Why should I ever work if work is evil? It goes up to the end. Besides, doesn't the capitalist class assume that work is evil and you should just live off your trust fund and be a capitalist forever? And that's why we created the managerial class. It's already within capitalist thinking. So with all those connections aside, it shows you that that's what society is about. So whenever you hear these psychological arguments saying that this person is antisocial, this person hates society. Remember there was that joke, we live in a society. It seems like the American public now believes that society is bad, that society is evil. Sounds like an original sin argument. And it's totally against the ideal of Jacques Rousseau's the good nature, human beings would be good, but it seems like everybody in America agrees that nobody is connected to society. That the irony is that a bunch of human beings congregated together are talking about hating society. They know society is bad, from the Ukrainian waving flags to Joe Biden. So what kind of society is that? It's definitely not our society, subjectively speaking. But this is the existential nihilism that people go through and realize that it justifies Nick Land's acceleration theory and technology. Why would you ever commit to society? There is no physical entity called society. If you were to say that the society is anywhere from the United States government to the local level of the Daly City government to a macro level of a private business at a garbage company, are those societies? Or are those kind of these ethno-nationalists like blocks, like in Judge Dredd, that all hate each other? It's hard to even say any of those are societies. And so it is agreeable to say that those entities are not societies, but antisocial breakaways that create their own cults and worlds. Kind of like a multi-universe theory. So again, I don't believe in society because there's no physical entity of society. Maybe there was a glimmer of what society was, a glimmer of light, say, in 2020, when a paternal system came out and told everyone to wear a mask. But this society was still hostile, and nobody liked it, and everybody didn't like the vax laws, and no one liked wearing the masks. So, can't we hate society? I mean, that's not the society we subscribe to. So there definitely is this totalitarian entity, but this society is evil. It isn't benevolent, it isn't neutral. It's still hostile against us. And so what I'm really saying, and summing this up, is that to be heroic today and to be an intellect and be good, you have to be antisocial. You have to be kind of like a Max Stirner ego in his own type of ideal. You have to be its own Nietzschean wolf moving the sheep. It's not the Promethean society of Jason Giorgiani where we're going to the moon or Caleb Maupin's communism. This society shouldn't have any associates with. So ultimately, all of us are proud and antisocial. Because again, there is no physical entity of society. That's a mean to justify boomer shaming and normism and the NPC thought police. By believing that there's no such thing as society, we can break free and be the alpha tribesmen, nomads, doing what we want. Stigma males in a way, doing what you want above broken post-capitalism. And not that we're creating our own societies, some of us do that, but instead knowing that you can't call institutions when humans congregate. This is Politer, and I recorded this on February 8th, 2023.